Hi everyone, I'm Atul Grover and I welcome you to the ServiceNow Learning. I'm working as a senior business process consultant and running my own YouTube channel named Learn and Grow together with Atul Ji. In today's learning session, we will discuss the business analyst journey from planning to sign off. This is my second session on the Now Learning platform. So let's start with the part 1. One day I asked a question to my friend who is a business analyst. What are your day in and day out work? My friend replied, I gather the requirement. I said, okay, that's good. I said, only gather? He said, yes. Please, let's put some stress on this word. I said, only gather. He said, yes. No other work? He laughs and said, Atul, come on. Maybe for you it is just one task. But for me, it's a 9-hour job in a day. I was surprised actually. To get more details, I asked him, if you went to Paris last month for vacation, and he laughed, said yes. It was an awesome trip. But you know that a lot of work need to do before travel. I said yes. I was happy inside now. I said, lot of work? What do you mean by lot of work? He said, Atul, like visa application, booking, accommodation, food, sightseeing, a lot of things. But oh my God, what an experience. You know, my family was so happy after this trip. And it was a successful and a memorable trip. Now I got him. So for your vacation, you did a lot of pre and post work of the trip. Then how you can say a business analyst only do requirement gathering? Now he was surprised. And I still owe a drink to him. Hope you got an understanding now. What is this course all about? So let's kick off our discussion, and let's not call this a course. It is a journey via train, starting from a station called planning, and the destination is sign off. So pack your bags, charge your camera, and let's board the train. So we are at the platform now, and time to view or understand the situation at a station. So now let me change it here. Yeah. So first thing first, for a business analyst, the word requirement is bread, butter, and jam. Definitely yes. So let's discuss and understand what is the meaning of the requirement here. A condition or a capability need by a stakeholder to solve a problem or achieve an objective. Let me try to bifurcate these words. A condition or a capability which is needed by a stakeholder. So stakeholder means who is directly or indirectly has an interest in the project, who needs some functionality kind of, I can say, who needs something to be built in that particular area, which is able to solve a problem or by which he want to achieve an objective. Let's discuss a layman terms. When I need something as a user is called a requirement. For the kids, toys are the requirement because they want to achieve the happiness. For a hungry person, food is the requirement so that he can close his thirst or hunger. And for our clients, ServiceNow implementation is a requirement. we can divide the requirement in the three types. As you can see on the screen now, the functional, non-functional, and the transition. It is very much important for a business analyst to bifurcate the requirement in these sections. Number one, the functional, the product capabilities or the things that a product must do for its user. Let's say I purchase a mobile phone. If via that mobile phone, I cannot call anybody, I cannot send SMS anybody, it means it's not a mobile phone for me. It's just a box with buttons. So in this case, it is the functional requirement which is required to operate that particular product. Then what is the non-functional? The quality attributes. Here remember the word quality. Design and implementation constraint and external interface that product must have. Let's say I purchase a new phone. It have an option to lock and unlock via button, not via the face recognition, not via the fingertips. Then I can say it's a non-functional, but it's a required, must have, because nowadays everything is moving to that technology perspective. And the last, that is called the transition. The capability that solution must in order to facilitate the transition from current state to the desired state. You make or we make any kind of a mobile phone, but every time if we build a new mobile phone set, it must have the calling and SMS function. This is what the transition defined here. So now our train has arrived. So now it's time to board the train for our journey. At a glance, if I say a business analyst need to perform these many activities, or these are the station. Now the question comes, Atul, what do you mean by these many? We're going to be discussed in very soon. So these are the station. You can say halt, you can say stop, where train will halt, and you can fresh up and take a break and get back with tea or coffee. But now the question is, how do we document, format, templates or samples do all this? It means that the question basically is that the activities we're going to perform, how I can keep a track, how I can build that. Do we have any kind of a format, any kind of a sample? How and from where we can get that? As we are speaking from the ServiceNow perspective, from the ServiceNow domain, and approximately 2 to 3 releases back, ServiceNow, there were term which we use in ServiceNow that is called the SIM. ServiceNow Implementation Methodology was used, and now recently ServiceNow replace, I said not replace is not the right word, enhance and reform and rename it, called the Now Create. Now Create, yes, Now Create is a hub for everyone, irrespective of your role you are playing in your project. Either you are an architect, you are a stakeholder, you are a business analyst, you are a business process consultant, you are a process consultant, anybody. If you want to understand or you want to know, Now Create is the best place to be there. It is a get step-by-step guidance that based on the real work experience, so that you can create the new workflows fast and get them right on the first time. This is the major problem that requirement gathering fail, because we don't have a plan on the place. Now Create provide a perspective methodology, number one, leading practice, number two, and accelerators to help you with the ServiceNow implementations, upgrades, and many more. For us, important is success pack. The success pack is different for the different type of implementation. So let's have a tour of Now Create along with these stations. Now, what are these stations? Let me show you here. So these are the stations which I'm speaking here. The first station starts with the business analysis, planning and monitoring, or we can say planning and monitoring. Second is called elicitations and the collaboration. Third one is called requirement lifecycle management or the lifecycle management. Fourth one is strategy analysis. Fifth one is requirement analysis design definitions. Sixth one, solution evaluations, assessment and relation. At the last, we have a requirement communication. So these are the seven, if I say right, yes, these are the seven states or the stops or the halts we are going to be covered in our now learning session. And here you can see on the left side a person like me is standing, who is the business analyst. We are going to perform these seven things in the bucket. And in these scenarios, in these activities, basically three major sections we will have. Number one, we have inputs. Number two, we have a task. And number three, we have an output. Yes, you got it right. One station will be input for one station or the other station or any station as well. So don't get confused that it is in the systematic order. No, the station input can be the output for other one and other outputs can become the input for the other one. So in this training, we are mainly going to be discuss task only, not the inputs and not the outputs. So let's take a break and we will connect with you in the part 2 of this journey. Bye-bye. Hi all, welcome back on the journey again. I'm ready with my coffee here. Hope you enjoyed the journey till now. So let's proceed. The first station in this journey is requirement analysis, planning and monitoring. If you remember the example, what my friend told that he need to do the visa application, bookings, accommodation, flights, everything he has to be do. And for doing this part, he definitely done some kind of a planning as well. As the name indicates, a BA need to do the works here. He need to do the planning approach. He need to involve the stakeholder engagement or need to be work on the stakeholder engagement. And number three, he need to do the improvement parameters. But what this particular planning and monitoring station told to us? It says that planning ensured that requirement gathering activities performed in an effective and timely manner. Remember, if I need to be travel or my friend need to be travel, if he did not make a planning on time, it can be costly and experience can be worse as well. Also, this planning and monitoring ensure all the requirements activities are scheduled and documented, number one. Number two, appropriate elicitation and the analysis methods are selected, a very much important point here. Number three, stakeholders are identified and expectations are set. Number four, requirement traceability is conducted. And number five, the organization complies with the regulations and the industry standards. I can understand, Atul, these are the English we know, but what is the crunch of this? The crunch is here in this particular area, in this particular domain, in this particular step. We are going to be finalize how we are going to be gather the requirements. This is what important here. As I say, in this particular area, in this particular step, we are going to be final that how the planning will work. Number two, how the stakeholders will be get engaged, because the main reason of requirement gathering or the BA part is failure is that we don't know that to whom we are going to be speak, and then it create a problem for us. In this are the business analysis, planning and monitoring knowledge area, tasks, organize and coordinate the efforts of a business analyst and the stakeholder. So this is the place you are going to put a foundation for your upcoming station. So let's proceed further here. Let me show you the diagram here. So under this particular step, we have, as I told, that we have a three section: input, task and output. We are not going to pick up inputs and outputs, but definitely we are going to pick up the task as a business analyst, including you and me, need to perform. Total 5 tasks need to be done in this particular station. Don't worry, you can still have a cup of coffee together. Good. Yeah. So in the first part, that is planning, I can say plan business analysis approach. What this mean actually? What is the crunch of this particular point? It say the purpose of planned business analysis approach is to define the appropriate method to conduct the business analyst activity. In other words, in simple words, if I say, okay, go and develop this product for me, you can still do, or I can still do. But the problem is that if we not have a complete planning, it can create a problem for us. Number 2, the business analysis approach may be defined by a methodology or by the organization standards. Like, I want to go for the agile, I want to go for the waterfall, we want to go for the iterative method, we want to go for the V model, we want to go for the spiral model. It's totally dependent, but this has to be finalized at this particular area, in this particular step, in this particular station. If the organization standards does not exist, it happens sometime. If the organization standard does not exist, then you and me as a business analyst work with the appropriate stakeholders to determine how work will be completed. It's happened, let's say I want to build a house, but I have no experience. So I can go and talk to my elders. I can go to talk to my parents. Hey, I want to build a new house. Can you guide me? So they can help us here. So, but the point is that here, if you know that I'm saying putting the stakeholders, appropriate stakeholders. If you missed out this training, you can go to the Now Learning and you can check the business stakeholders of my previous Now Learning training on the platform. But in this part, the business analysis approach should align the overall goal of the change, number 1. Number 2, coordinate the business analysis task and the activities and the deliverables which are pointing to the overall change which you want to be achieved. Number 3, include the task to manage any risk. Because this is the play, this is the planning where you have to make sure that risk also get captured. If any risk is coming, then you have to be captured that as well. So it includes a task to manage any risk. What is the risk here? Changing the requirement. It's the biggest risk. Changing the stakeholders. It's another biggest risk. So we have to decide here that how we can manage the risk or reduce the risk in this particular place. And last, leverage the approach and select techniques and the tools which are historically worked. If you as a business analyst already implemented some project, or let's say implemented ServiceNow ITSM for your previous client on the agile methodology, then you can go ahead in this area as well, because it is historically proved. Try avoiding any new methods if it is a fresh and new customer, but if you have experience, you can go ahead with the same. The second part here, this one, plan the stakeholder engagement. It is very much important point. Generally, business analysts did not connect with the required stakeholder on time, and later on it created a problem for them. So in this, the purpose of the plan stakeholder engagement is to plan an approach for establishing and maintaining the effective working relationship. It is very much important because as a business analyst, I did not interact with my customer till the time I go for the requirement gathering. And that time I was not aware that to whom I'm going to be interact, and it can change the complete game as well. So it is very much important here. Second point, planned stakeholder engagement involves conducting a thorough stakeholder analysis to identify of all involved stakeholders and their characteristics. Remember, in my previous Now Learning session, we discussed about the 9 type of stakeholders: lion, eagle, rabbit, dog, cat, kind of things. So we have to do this part in this particular place here. And the last, the analysis approach results then utilized for the best collaboration and communication approaches of initiative and the appropriate plan for the stakeholders. What this mean? If I know that who is my stakeholder and to whom I'm going to be interact, it can help me to complete my work which is coming on the way, and I can approach to the right person on the right time for the right task at a right place. The third one, business analysis governance. Planned business analysis governance is again important point. Without governance, nothing can be worked. Either you speak from the process perspective, you speak from the architect perspective, you speak from the technical perspective. Governance is always very much important. The bigger and the most important projects or the processes fails if there is no governance at all for the same. So in this particular area, in this particular step, in this particular task, plan the business analyst governance to define how decisions are made about requirements, design, including review, change controls, and the prioritization. So here I have to be know that, okay, if there's a change in the requirement, to whom I should reach out so that I can get a sign off. It is important, and this place you have to be define the names. Yes, for this particular case, I have to be go this particular person. For this particular case, I have to be go for this particular person. The fourth one, and it includes, it's not ending here. It includes when you're planning the governance approach, business analysis or business analyst identify number one, how business analysis work will be approached and prioritized. Number one. Number two, what the process of proposing the change to the business analyst information. It means that let's say we sign off on the 5 requirements and now customers say, no, I want one more. It is a new change they're proposing. So how this can be taken care of? We have to be decided at this point of time. Who has the authority and responsibility to propose a change, and who should be involved in the change discussion? If I say, so this is the place where you are going to be define the RASI model specifically. It is very much important. Who are the responsible for analyzing the change request? Let's say customer came to me, Atul, can you develop this thing for me? Yes, I can. But do I have a bandwidth? Is it has been signed off by the customer or the business stakeholder properly? So we have to be defined here. Who has the authority to approve the change? And last, how the changes will be documented and communicated. Here, remember the word change is very much important. It's not the ITL change. No, it's not the change enablement. No, it is a change which a customer want to be achieved. It is the requirement which a customer want to be achieved. In the next part, that is plan the business analysis information management. It's again important point. If you remember, if I remember properly, whenever we join a new company, new project, there's a mechanism to get access. Okay, these documents are on this particular place, these documents are this particular place, like Confluence, Wiki, SharePoint, share drives are there. So in this particular place, we have to finalize that how the information management will be done, how the information will be get stored. The purpose of planned business analysis information management is to develop an approach for the how business analysis information will be stored and accessible, has been accessed. Business analysis information is comprised of all the information. It doesn't mean that you just have a documents. It includes your illustration results, your recordings, you create, you compile, you dismantle, or you dismiss anything. In your activities, everything should be captured there. Archiving part also captured here. Number 3, model, scope, statement, stakeholder communication, stakeholder concerns, allocation results, requirement design are the few examples which I'm putting in this particular place. So in short, if I say on this particular task, we have to be decide that what are the place all these things be stored and what are the procedure or the process to get it be access. So mainly we have to be take care, or we have to be put these questions upfront to the customer. Number 1, how information should be organized. Do we have any folder structure, or we can put randomly here, or the level of detail in which it should be captured, up to dot level or up to sentence level. These are things which I can give example. Is any relationship between these information? If I delete X, will Y will also delete, or if I give access of X, will the user will get the access for Y as well. How information may be across multiple initiative and throughout will be used in the enterprise. and how the information should be accessed and stored. And last, the characteristics of information that must be maintained. What type of document you have to be maintained, that is very much important here. And the last task a BA need to perform here is identify the business analysis performance improvements. It is again an important point. Why? Because whenever we're doing planning, we have to be think about the improvements as well. If you remember, in the ideal V3 we have 5 books, and the last book that is contains CIS, continuous improvement services. Sorry, CSI is continuous service improvement. What this mean? If tomorrow, if something gets changed in the process of the requirement gathering, how it can be improved. And to do this part, the purpose of this particular task or the step is to assess the business analysis work and to plan the improvement. Let's say I'm gathering a requirement, and customer, after 3 days, customer say, no, I'm not happy with this approach. So next workshop should not be like this. So let me give you the improvement idea so that I can make a change there. To monitor and improve the performance, it is necessary to establish the performance measures. It is very much important, which can be conduct the performance analysis, report on the results, that how many time you go for the workshop and you're getting it done in a 1 shot, 2 shots, 3 shots kind of things. Identify any necessary preventive or corrective action. If I say, let's say I got a feedback from my customer that in the first workshop you are too much technical. In the second workshop, avoid technical things, otherwise it is getting tough for my stakeholders to understand the things. So this is what the point we have to be taken. And now it's time to be go to the now create. So let me take you here that what is the now create. So you can see on the screen, to access the now create, we have a nowlearning.servicenow.com/now create. I log in with my ID, and this is the front page, I can say home page for this particular now create. This particular place has a 3 sections: a methodology if you want to learn, success pack which we discussed earlier, and the last is the assets. So few things I'll pick up from here, and then we will discuss that how it is helpful for us. So now what we have discussed here, if you see, we discussed that we have to do the approach, Francis approach, stakeholder engagement, governance improvement, and information management. I'm not 100% sure that we can achieve all the tasks in ServiceNow, but I think and I sure that we can do a lot of things with this help of the now create. So now if I go here, I can click on the search here, and you can see okay. So now you can see here in this now create platform, if you see that we have a filter success pack, that what you want to be achieved. So I can say my project type is all, is an upgrade, it's an implementation, or rapid MVP deployment. And if you want to go, let's say I click on the all here. If you want to go for specific suite, you can go here. So I can say app engine, automation, customer, ITSM, everything, I can get it here. So let's say for my case, let's say I want to be go for the implementation project, and I'm going to be implement the ITSM for my customer. So I can go here and click on this particular part. So now this is what I can see. Under this, these are the 5 success pack given by ServiceNow to me. In this, what I can pick up, I can go for this implementation, ITSM, modernize IT service management. If I click on this, open success pack, and you will be surprised to see all these things here. Let me minimize, let me take my video a little bit up, that will be fine. So now you can see that this is a methodology. If I say this is a complete end-to-end plan for implementation of any project, you can see we have initiate, we have plan, we have execute, deliver, and close. Simple SDLC, I can say. Under this, we have a value management and analytics, project and program, architecture, technical governance, design, testing, and organizational management and support. Now here the first point come. Atul, I am not a developer. I am a business stakeholder, or I am a business analyst. How this is going to be helpful for me? Can I need to be click every button? No. What you can do, you can use this filter part here. You can click on this filter and you will be surprised that this is what ServiceNow give us, a beautiful place. You can search for your role. Maybe not the exact role you will get, but you can get the closest role as per the ServiceNow definition. So you can see, like, I am a business process consultant. So for me, business process analyst or the business process lead can work here. If I am a sponsor, this is what for the sponsor. If I am a change enablement lead, it is not from the ITSM process, it is from the organization change perspective. Your developer, architect, owner, you can pick up here. Let's say, as I am a business process consultant, so I'll go on this part. Let's say business process lead. And you will be surprised, out of this, only 10 tasks where I am responsible, and 6 tasks where I am accountable, and 100 tasks where I will be get consulted. This is what ServiceNow say. If you remember in the part 1, we say that Now Create is a step-by-step guide including the best practices and the standards which we can use to create the new platform. So now if I remove this part, let me take you on the none here and come. So what we discuss here in our discussion is that plan the business analyst approach and the stakeholder engagement. So what we can do, definitely it is in the initiation phase before the actual planning, because here if you see, the plan means the actual development start, but you can go here. Now the second question which we again put in our previous discussion, that from where we can get the samples or the template. So you can click on this part, initiate here, and it will open you the part. Review and validate the now, value and vision phase. This is almost done because I'm a business analyst. This part has been done. For me, what is important? Let me close here and I can go for the kickoff meetings. And I can say my kickoff meetings. Executive team kickoff and project kickoff. Let's say executive. I can say here I will get a chance to learn or to get my particular stakeholder. So if you click on this, it will tell you that why this step is important, who is required in this particular step, how this can be achievable or helpful for me if it gets successful, what are the inputs and what are the outputs. Generally we struggle to get some kind of a template. You can get the templates from here as well. Executive team kickoff agenda template, executive team presentation, and these are not the success pack, these are the assets. So you can click on this view asset, and if you want, you can download and you can use as it is in your project. That's totally fine from the ServiceNow perspective, and ServiceNow recommend you should use the same thing. So you can see total 30 slides are there. If you just see here, and you can use as it is for you. It has the agenda as well. So this is the first place. Let me go back here and let me click on this one. This is what we will be discussing, right? So now, what is the exit for this particular phase? Click here, that manage the initiate phase gate meetings. Okay, the thing is that in the planning I can say everything has been done, my stakeholder engagement has been done. You can, and if you complete this part, you can out from this particular phase, and you can see here what is the input, initiate phase checklist, and what is the output. You are getting the sign off from your customers. But still the question still remain, Atul, where is the engagement, stakeholder and planning part? As I say, maybe you're not able to achieve everything here, but you can see here like this, define change strategy. Click on this. Under this, you can, for the kickoff meeting, prepare the enablement project plan, impact analysis, your methodology you can define here, and your pre-implementation, the points which we discussed, like we have to be define the standards and all the things. You can pick it up here. As I again saying, this thing I'm showing you from experience, but yes, a lot of things you can achieve from here. Few things you will getting in this particular area as well. So now let's come back here on our discussion and let's take a break again, because we are on the stop. Get refresh up, get your back with your tea and coffee, and we'll connect in the part number 3. Till time, thank you and bye-bye. Hi everyone, welcome back on the journey. Hope you enjoyed the journey till now, and let's proceed further. So the next stop in the next stop is requirement elicitation and the collaboration. Here the actual work starts for a business analyst. When we as a business analyst interact with the stakeholders and get the requirement, high level work includes prepare for elicitation, conduct, and last, review and confirm the results. So this is the place which my friend told. I gather the requirement, and this step indicates a lot of things about here. So the requirement elicitation knowledge area define the standard techniques used to collect the requirement of the system. If I say a child want to buy the toys and he want to be get it by done anyway. So what he do, he will start asking question to you. Why and sorry, he will ask, okay dad, when you're going to market, how we are going to market, what are we bringing from the market. It means he's getting the requirement that okay, is my dad is going on the right place where I can get the toys or not. This activity is also known in the industry as the eliciting requirement. The scope of the elicitation work may be a new system and enhancement of the existing system. Maybe at this place you are going to be create a complete new system, if I can say a complete service now fresh implementation, or I'm going to be implement another 2 or 3 modules of service now for my same client. The business analysis professionals select the appropriate mean to gather the need requirement based on the applicability of the technique, process, key feature, and the strength and the weakness. It is very much important point here. Let me put a little bit more things here. To gather the requirement, if I take a normal example, which I generally take or which I generally use, that one day my kid came from the school and he was not happy. So my wife asked to my kid, what happened? He did not reply back. Then she says, okay, did you enjoy your lunch? He said, okay, I enjoyed. Did you get something more from school today? Some homework kind of things. He did not say anything at that point of time. Now she convert the topic and change the topic and say, okay, let's play a game. When they both starting the game, then my wife again starting asking the few more questions. So at this point, it is important that how we are going to gather the requirement. We have a list of the techniques which we need to be used. Before that we proceed, let's understand the word elicitate is defined to draw forth or bring out. Again, to draw forth or bring out something latent or potential. Maybe something can be a requirement or something is a requirement. And the second, to call forth and the draw out. It means the information which you get or the response you get, you're doing something and you're going to be build something on that part. It is a very, very, very important place for a business analysis perspective. This is what my friends say that I do day in, day out, this thing only. The elicitation and the collaboration, and the word is adding collaboration because a BA did not, or the business analyst did not gather the requirement alone. He need a collaboration from the multiple parties as well. It describes the task that business analysts perform to obtain the information from the stakeholder and confirm the results of elicitation is drawing forth or receiving information from the stakeholder or the other sources. In nutshell, if I say this is the place, if I am hungry and my mother want to know that I am hungry or not, with the help of my questions, with the help of my responses, she can draw the conclusion and she can say yes, it is his requirement. So now let's proceed further and see what are the tasks involved. Don't see on the right side, let's see on the first left side. Total 5 tasks a BA need to do, a business analyst need to do here. Number 1, prepare for elicitation. Oh my God, Atul, I'm going to the client side to gather the requirement, but are you going just? Have you done your homework on that part? This is important to be see here. So under this, the purpose of prepare elicitation is to understand the scope of the elicitation activities. It doesn't mean that I'm going to the client side to gather the requirements so I can put anything or I can ask anything. No, you should know the scope, that what had been mentioned in the SOW or in your work orders kind of things. Select the appropriate technique and plan appropriate supporting material and the resources. This is what I am saying again here. So whenever I go to the customer side to gather the requirement, I always use the now create. In the last part, we discussed about the success pack. If you get the time, please go and check the assets area as well. Or maybe I can try to show you something on that part in this particular session. Okay, in this particular recording. Then in this particular task, a business analyst prepare for the allocation by defining the desired outcome. What you want to be achieved. I'm going to gather the requirement, that's fine. But what you want to be achieved, what is the output you want to be achieved, that is important to be here. Don't mix it that Atul, we done this part of the planning. No. Planning is to reach at this particular station. In this particular station, I'm going to do actual work. This is what important point here. Okay. So business analysts prepare for the elicitation by defining the desired outcome of the activity. Number one, considering the stakeholders involved and the goals of the initiative. It includes which work product will be produced using the elicitation results, deciding which technique is best suited. So in short, if I say in this particular task, I'm going to be discuss mainly that what are the techniques which you can see on the right side has been there. Do I need to be follow the brainstorming, some document analysis, focus group, interviews, observation, prototyping, workshop, reverse engineering, survey questions. These are the different techniques, and these are not the limited one. There are a few more techniques exist. It depends that what you want to be achieve and what you want to be want. So in that case, you can decide what you want to be achieved. According to that, you can pick up the right technique to do this part. You have to be make sure under the again I'm at the 4.1 only, and in this particular place in per task you have to be ensure that you have all the illustration logistics, your decks, your templates, your attendance cards, your travels, everything should be ready and handy with you. Identify any supporting material if needed. Again, same thing, decks I can say, presentations I can say, facts and figures I can say, because this is a time where when you are going to be interact with the stakeholder, you are going to be represent your company, you are going to be represent your organization in the front of the customer. So first impression is the last impression I can say here. In the second task, that is conduct illustration, here you have to be actually doing the work. All the best here. Under this part, total 3 things have to be measured. Not to be measured, I can say to be considered. Number one is that in this particular area, on this particular task, what is the outcome? Number one, the aim is to draw out, explore, and identify information relevant to change. Let's say in a day, I have an 8 hours workshop. Out of 8 hours, I am able to make a decision or able to draw something that the discussion I have done for the first 3 hours or 4 hours has been crunched for this particular relevant change. In this part, we have to be considered 3 main types. Number one, the illustration should be collaborative. And it is practically, I'm saying, whenever we go as a business analyst for the requirement gathering and we start speaking in the technical term and we only speak, we did not listen to the customer, we lost half of the battle. So it should be collaborative. You also say, listen from the customer perspective and then take on the further proceedings. So in this part, I can say involve direct interaction with the stakeholders and relies on their experience, expertise, and the judgment, because they are from the business. They know the business more than you or more than me or more than us. We know the service now, but they know the business more than us. So better to understand them, to experience them, to listen them, and then take a decision. Second type of illustration. Number second is research. Sometimes what happens in the workshops, stakeholder did not speak much, but when we present the present decks or the sign of material, then they say, no, I don't know about this thing. So it should be, the research is the second part we have to be make sure. So it involves the systematically discovering and studying information or materials from the sources which are not directly known by the stakeholders and involve the change. Maybe someone say, hey, if you read this document, it helps you to go for the particular requirement gathering. So in that case, you can do some research and you can present in last experiments. This is a very much important point. Experiment says it involves identifying the information that could not be known with some sort of controlled test. It means you are just doing the experiment to get the information. Simple. Some information cannot be drawn from the people of the document. Maybe I asked my stakeholder, okay, what do you think about the service now? Is it good or bad? He says, it's now you cannot draw that it's good or bad. In that case, you have to do the experimentation approach. This is important to be understand this, but because it is unknown, this doesn't mean that it's a good or it's a bad. Okay, and I remember that if I take example that someone asked, hey, are you coming there? I said yes, or I said no, or maybe I said it means you're coming or not. That's important. Yes doesn't mean it's yes, or it doesn't mean no. So experiments can help you discover the kind of information you're looking for sometimes. Experiment includes observational studies. Study the nature, study the way, or study the points which stakeholders are doing in the workshop so that you can understand. Proof of concept, show them the proof of concept, do some POCs and show them. And finally, some screening, some wireframing, some prototyping you can show them. And also stakeholder may collaborate in illustration by. One more thing, because I say it's a collaborative approach, so it's my responsibility. Definitely it's responsibility of my stakeholder as well. So in this, participating in interaction during the illustration activity and researching, studying and providing feedback on the documents, system and the model interfaces. It is important. If you remember the previous one which we discussed on the business analyst stakeholders, so you can find out that who is important here, who can help you to prove this study is fine, to give you the scope, to give you the place that okay, these documents are absolutely fine and they are happy to proceed further. And different techniques, as I pick up on the right side, it includes brainstorming, document analysis, focus group, interview, observations, kind of things you can pick up. We're not going in the deep dive of these techniques, but you can get a chance. If you get a chance to check on the Google, you can go through. The third task, which is important, is called the confirm illustration results. There is a game which we played in my childhood that is called the whispering game. Someone told me something, I passed to the other person passed to the other person, other person passed to the other person. This is what the illustrations say here. My customer say I want X. I said okay, it's maybe small x, or it's a bigger X, or it's a double X, kind of things. But how you get a confirmation, you have to do this part here only. So in this particular step, if I say that the purpose of confirm illustration results to check information gathered during the illustration activity or the session accurate and consistent. That is number one part. We have to be doing this particular thing. Generally say, oh, I go to the client side, I get the requirement, it's done. No, unless you will not confirm, it's not done. That's the half you have done. If you are booking a ticket and you do not get the PNR number, it doesn't mean that your tickets have been booked. So this is what the confirmation is. Second part, in the illustrated information is to confirm, to identify any problem or to resolve that before resources are committed. It is again important point here. And this review can be done on the both side. You can do as a business analyst, you can do this thing with your technical teams as well, and you can do these activities with your stakeholders as well. And also to, if any error, any conflict, any ambiguity, we can sort it out at this particular place. And the last one, the illustration can be compared against the sources and their illustration results to be ensure consistency. Let's say I sent 5 of the BAs or the business analysts to the different for one customer for a different kind of requirement gathering. There's a stakeholder who's supporting in the 5 areas, and I need to make sure that that person is consistent in everywhere. So this is a place where we can do the things, and also it build a healthy relationship with your customer. It gives a confidence to your customers or the stakeholders that yes, we are on the right track. In the in the second last, number 4 is communicate the business analysis information. Listen, note it down, send it. It's done. Communicate. It is important here because after this you're going to be store the information on the platforms which we discuss in the planning area. So in this particular task, what we're going to do, the purpose of communicate business analysis information is to ensure that stakeholder have a shared understanding of the business analysis information. Means when we communicate, we make sure that okay, now as a business analyst, I sorry, and you as a stakeholder, we are on the same page and we understand yes, this is what we discussed and we're going to be build that. But I'm communicating it now. Officially, I'm communicating it now. Then business analyst must communicate appropriate information to the stakeholder at the right time in the right format. It is important. If there's a change in the requirement, doesn't mean that you are going to be do only in the email. If there's a change in the requirement, you should go with the proper template, format, authorization. Only then you should communicate to the stakeholder. This is the second point, including language and all the things you have to be make sure it should be captured properly in this part, that how it has been communicated to you. And it is a bi-directional and the iterative. It is not one side. If I send, I should receive acknowledgement as well. And it's a iterative. It doesn't mean that today everything has been final, tomorrow it cannot be reopened. It can be reopened again as well by tomorrow. So we have to make sure. And last is manage the stakeholder collaboration. It is a second step in the second task which we are going to discuss, which we discuss in the planning phase, engagement, stakeholder engagement, and now you are going to be manage that collaboration. So in this, the purpose of manage stakeholder collaboration is to encourage stakeholder to work toward a common goal. Because now you spend a lot of time to discuss with them. Your goal and your way of discussions is almost similar with or the almost aligned with the goal of the change as well. So now you have to make sure that you all, as a business analyst, as a business process consultant, as a stakeholder, work toward the common goal. Business analyst work itself is so many collaboration between groups. If I say my personal experience, I interact with the multiple groups on a given point of time. So I have to make sure that all the collaboration should be work hand in hand. And also it is important that in the stakeholder part, a stakeholder has a power or the degree to influence the results, to influence the audience as well. So we have to make sure that all the things should be in the place, and if there's any influencing happening, then I should be aware and I can take the proper action on that particular part. Now, one more thing. There are poor relationship with the stakeholder. Sometimes there are the poor relationship with the stakeholder that can have many detrimental effect on the business sales. So it means it is very much important. See, for a business analyst, the relationship is very much important. It's a working relationship, very much important and healthy. It should not be like today I call and after 2 years I'm getting again calling back to my stakeholder. Hey, how are you doing? No, it should be like a continuous discussion should be there, so that they should feel that yes, you are working, and I should feel yes, I'm working with them on a common goal. So in this particular part, if I say that if it's a poor relationship, it means the reason can be failure to provide the quality information. Customer is asking something, stakeholder asking something, and you're providing after 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 days. It's completely called as a insufficient quality information. Then strong negative reactions. If customer says something and you immediately say negative point and you're putting some obstacles, that's again the wrong part here. Try to avoid these things, important. Then recessions to the change. It is sometimes what happened in the BA area that we have to be changing the path. It's not like always my way or highway. You have to be follow the things if required. Lack of support or participation in the business analysis. Customer said, hey, I want to be looking for a workshop with you. I'll plan something later on. And you are just bypassing it. That's actually wrong. If you want to make a good relationship, then you should, we should also, I include myself as well, provide service to the business analyst, including inputs to the business analyst task and the other support activities. It show a good health relationship. Depend on the service provided by the business analyst, including outputs of the business analyst task, and participate in the execution of the business analyst task. So this is what we covered in this particular part. Now let's take to the tour of the now create here, and let's see what we have under this particular part here. So now if you see here what we have discussed, let me come here. So we have prepared for elicitation, conduct, confirm. So it means something we have to be go for the requirement gathering here. Okay, so now I can come, service now provide me this particular place. So this is the place which I can use 100%. Conduct platform workshops. As a business analyst, I need to be go for the workshops multiple times, and I have to be prepared for this elicitation. There's some homework I have to perform, so you can do this part. So now if I open this, let me say prepare for platform core workshop. Maybe let's say my customer is new in the industry or new in the service now. So first of all, I have to be give them a workshop about this. So you can say what is input. So you can say what is foundation data, what is workshop, sorry, language and all the things. What is platform workshop agenda, how to draw that part. Let me show you, which I promised you earlier. Let me show you here, and let me show download it here. Or you can say, yeah, let me bring it here for you, and you can see this is what the agenda I can use. Service now provide the agenda, complete agenda service now provide. It doesn't mean that you cannot modify. If you want, you can modify as well if required. So you can see who is what on all these things. This is important point. This is the kickoff, platform kickoff agenda. So this is not a success pack. This is a asset which we are going to be use that. So now you can go back here. If I show you, and let me close it here and go back. Let me come here. Now conduct platform workshop. You can say, Atul, that's fine. Okay, workshop has been done. Now what next? For me, important is to do the process workshops. So you can see here. So you can see prepare for process workshop. Before you conduct the elicitation, you can go for the process preparation, that how to prepare that part. What I need to be do in these particular workshops. So this is the homework you can do here. So why, who, and how. You can see responsible is this and accountable is this. How it can be done? Inputs. You can go for the change management. It's not the change enablement. I'm sure it's something change management workshops. Okay, that's fine. Employee center, CMDB. So you can see that what is the prerequisites. So if I'm implementing the service now first time to my customer, so I have to be do at least foundation data, CMDB things. I have to be do that part. And last, you're getting the outputs. Believe me, from my personal experience, I'm saying these assets are just an awesome thing. Nothing to be worried on that part. It's Microsoft Word. You can get the Microsoft PowerPoint as well. So if I want to be implement Employee Center, you can just click on this and you can download this data. Let me try to download so you can see here. 21 slides. You can go and you can pick up and you can show to the customer that okay, this is things you're going to be interact with the ServiceNow platform. Now the one point which we have to be discussed here. Let me come here and let me come on this part and let me show you it up. Now it's a communicating back. That is important. If you want, and I'm not recommending, but if you want, you can go for the story refinement, even though it is the next stop for us that how to do this part. So you can do your defined architectures as well here, that how the things will work in the architecture level. Okay, so few things you can get it from here, that how to be communicate to the customer, if requirement gathering is completed or not, you can get it from here. Maybe some support you can put it here. Deployment process as of now not required. Maybe assess and plan for the change. It is going to see create the communication plan. You can put it here. Click here. You want to some kind of a format, you can get it here. Job done. Just you have to be think what you are looking for and you can get it. And one more thing, we are just on the our area is ITSM modernize. We are just on the ITSM part. You can check on the other platforms or other areas. So let me go back here. Let me go for the success pack here. If I change it from implementation to, let's say, core upgrade, and I can see it, click on the all here. So I have core platform upgrade. You can go and you can open the success factor. Let me show you this part. Steps will be same. Initiate, plan, and all the things will be same, but the points can be different. Planning, regression testing. It was not the part of our previous one because we have something else. So it is important for us which the item we're looking for, and then we can do that part. Okay. So now it's time to take a break from this particular station. Let's get some time and we'll be back again soon in the next part. Thank you. Hi everyone. Once again, welcome back in the next stop of our journey. So till now we completed the 2 stations, and now we're on the 3rd station, that is called the life cycle management. That is called requirement life cycle management. Okay. The requirement lifecycle management knowledge area describes the task that a BA need to perform in order to manage and maintain requirement and design information from inception to retirement. It means now I'm back from the customer side. I have things in my bucket and I have to start thinking that how I should manage it, plan it, maybe in the sprint, maybe in the PI planning, maybe in the sprint planning kind of things, or other way. And I have to take it from inception to the retirement. Means from starting to the end, we have to be put here. These tasks describe establishing meaningful relationship between the related requirement. Let's say I got 30 requirements on the form. Now I have to decide that how these requirements are interrelated and how the designing can be done. Assessing the change to the requirement and design when change are proposed. In case if any changes come in the design, then we have to do and analyze the gaining consequences on change. If something is getting changed in the requirement, then definitely we have to see the part as well. And in this part, the purpose of requirement lifecycle management is to ensure that business stakeholders and the solution, requirement and design are aligned with one another. It means in the previous one, when I say we have to be confirm, we have to be communicate. Here, we have to make sure that the business, the stakeholder, and the requirement which I'm going to build and the solution I'm going to build should be work and aligned with each other, so that there should not be no disparity. Maybe you can say, Atul, it is not required. No, it's required. Any point of time, any stakeholder can come and say, sorry, it's not my requirement. Then what will do? So we have to make sure that these things should be done in a proper manner. It involves a level of control over requirement and how requirement will be implemented. I can say something here a little bit that we can use script, agile or the sprint kind of thing. So the user story, we can still put it something here. Also, it helps to ensure that business analyst information is available for the future use. In case any disparity, in case we need to be rebuilt, in case we need to be enhanced. So this is a place which can be base for the next activity for us. So now in this domain, if I say here, let me come and show you here. Yes. The requirements life cycle, number 1, is begin with the representation of the business need as a requirement. Number 1, when someone and business said, okay, I need this thing, it is a starting point. Continues through a development and solution on the way, and at last, when this solution has been accepted and it reaches to the retirement state, it says life cycle has been end for that particular requirement. Again, in this area, BA need to do the 5 tasks, business analyst to do the 5 tasks. Number 1 is called the trace requirement. Very much important. What it says, the purpose of tracing of requirement is to ensure that requirement and designs at a different level are aligned with another, and to manage effect of change on one level to the related requirements. It means that I have to make sure that in case any changes are coming, or the requirement which already have should be consistent throughout the journey. It's not, doesn't mean that, okay, in the requirement gathering, 1, 2, 3 are there, but in the design, it's getting up and down. There's no relevance between these two. No. In this particular place, we have to make sure that all these things are the interrelated with each other, and it enables the traceability. Enables, number one is fast and a simple impact analysis. You can, if you want, you can create the requirement traceability matrix here. Very simple, you can do that part, because in the testing phase you're going to be use that particular thing. Number two, more reliable discovery of inconsistency, because it's a sign of has been done in the previous one, but still if something goes wrong you can do it via the traceability matrix. And in case any gap came, I give one example. We were implementing the SLA for one of the customer, and when we get the requirement and we are building it, our development was going on, then we found there's a difference between these two things. One side customer say yes, other side customer say no. So there's a difference. So how to maintain? It is a part, it is a place where you have to be make sure that things has been captured. So traceability metrics come here. It's important. And the third point is deeper insights into the scope and the complexity. Because when we are getting a requirement, we don't understand or we don't think about how much tough to do this part, how much deeper it's or how much complex it is. But when we actually start the development part, then we came to know all these things. So it is a place where we can get this idea. And it should be throughout. When I say throughout, means from inception till the retirement, as this particular point say. In the next part, in the next task, there is a maintain the requirement. Another important point. Like maintaining a relationship is important the same way maintaining a requirement is also so much important here. The purpose of maintain requirement is to retain the requirement accuracy and the consistency throughout the and beyond the change during the entire life cycle. This is important. Maybe when I go to the requirement gathering, I told to my customer, or my customer told me I need X, Y, Z. But when I'm maintaining it, later customer says, no, I need A, B, C, D, S. Then it creates a problem for me. So in this particular part, I have to make sure that every time I should discuss the requirement with my customers from time to time, just to get a refreshing course, I can say refresher part on that part, and should be maintained properly and accurate properly, because today's requirement can be a input for the tomorrow's work as well. In this part, it is important. Number one, I can say a requirement that represent a ongoing or must be maintained to ensure it remains valid over the time. Sometimes, let's say I'm doing an integration of the two systems. So it's an ongoing requirement, because doing in the phases, one incident, then change, then problem, then request, then knowledge. So it's an ongoing requirement. So in this case, it is important that it should be consistent and should be accurate and valid over the time as well. To maximize the benefit of maintaining and reusing requirement, we should use I can say the requirement should be consistently represented. So whenever you're going to be start a new sprint, better you discuss this requirement with the customer upfront. Don't assume that okay, the requirement gathering we're done, so we're going to build it. No, it's a wrong assumption. Better put some time and discuss with the customer. Reviewed and approved the maintenance using a standardized process. If customer says no, I want to change it, don't go and make a change just on the relationship perspective. No, better go for the standard process which we discussed in our previous one, in the planning phase which we discussed, right? And the last, keep the information there which is easily accessible and understandable. Don't try to be write so much for business logics or technical jargons kind of things. Try to maintain the simple format. The third one, that is called the prioritization. I still remember a question which has been asked to me in the interview, that who do the prioritization? Is it done by the product owner? Is it done by the scrum master? Is it done by the business analyst? Or is it done by the business process consultant? So I said it's done by everybody in all together, because BA can tell, or the BPC can tell from the process perspective, architect can tell from the competitive perspective, and other product owner can be tell from their requirement perspective or the business benefit perspective. So it is important in this point that we have to be prioritized. See, I am a BA, it doesn't mean that I can do everything with my own. No. For me, my partner, my client partner, my partner is my stakeholders. So I have to do everything with the support of them, with the collaboration with them only. That is the reason it is important to maintain the healthy relationship. So what we have to do in this part is that the purpose of prioritization is to rank the requirement in the order which is relevant for the importance. Number one, Prioritization is an act of ranking requirement, determine their relative importance to the stakeholder. What this requirement is going to benefit to my stakeholder on the basis of I can rank it. There are multiple factors, maybe 2 or 3 factors I can tell, but there are another factors also involved. But these are the prime factors which we have to be considered. Second factor is that priority can be defined or refer as a relative value of a requirement in the sequence as well. That if I not do perform this activity or this requirement, it can impact the other requirement as well. That is a part. And third, it is an ongoing process. It doesn't mean that in a one sprint you're done, it's not required in the next sprint. It may require in the sprint second as well, but it is an ongoing process. That is important here. The fourth one, that is called the requirement changes. Assess the requirement changes. Important point. You can see here. Assessment if the requirement get changed, how to assess that part. Important. It's not like change requirement. The word changes doesn't mean that what I'm going to be achieved now. The changes means what customer gave to me, they're changing the words, they're changing their work now. So it is a assess the requirement changes here. The purpose of assess requirement changes to evaluate the implication of the proposed requirement and to the designs. That is number 1 point. Customer say, no, we are building integration. He said, no, I want integration via X module first or via X method. Now they're changing it. What we have proposed earlier, they're changing it and they're proposing something new. So we have to be making implication that how it's going to be affected to my design and the other requirements. In the assess requirement change, task is performed as a new need. It doesn't mean that it's the old one. It's a new need completely. So it should be go through the complete strategy, complete proper process. Then only we can accept it. And the last, assessment must be performed to determine whether a proposed change will increase the value of solution or what action should be taken. I give you a normal example. In one of my projects, I was working and it was told by customer, can we change the value of this data type of this particular field? I said, yes, we can make a change it. But it was just a single from checkbox, I can want to go for the drop down value. But in the background, if I make a change, there's a lot of places need to be changed. So these kind of things should be assessed. What I'm going to be achieved if I make a change in this proposal, if I accept the proposed part. And the last, the task which is becoming here is called this part, I can say. Also, one more thing we have to make sure in the assessing part that if any proposed changes, anything new is coming in the system, it should be aligned with the overall strategy. Number 1 part. Second, the effect value of the delivered to the business and the stakeholder. The value which are going to be achieved should be actually impactful to the customers or the stakeholders. Impact the time of delivery and the resources. It is also we have to be considered if we are accepting it. This is very much important point. We as a business analyst, we say, okay, we can do it. But we have to be think that if we do this change at point of time, how it's going to be, make sure it's not impacting any other things on the place. And it may change, it may affect, it may alter your risk, opportunities and constraints as well. So as a business analyst, I have to be think on these 4 parameters and I have to be say, I'm going to be accepted or not. Okay, and the last, it says the approve requirement. The purpose of approve requirement is to obtain the final sign-off, I can say. But it is not our last station. Don't worry, it's not our last station. We still have 3 more stations to be go, or the 4 more stations to be go. Okay, in this particular part, a business analyst are responsible for ensuring clear communication of the requirement. That you say X, I am mentioning X. This is what should be there. This design has been presented. You give a sign of this design. It's done. It should be a clear communication in this particular part. Then it's considered as an approved one. Approval of the requirement and design must be a formal. Maybe in a meeting, maybe in a template, maybe in the recorded format, but it should be a formal approach. Try or avoid informal methods. On the phone, it's done. No. That's not a good approach actually here. And the last, Adaptive approach is typically approve requirement only when the construction or the implementation of solution meeting has been happened. So once you draw some kind of a prototyping kind of things, a POC kind of things, then you can show and get a sign off. That is also one of the things. Plus the last point, this should be approved with the key stakeholders who are actually going to be affected by this particular requirement or getting the value from this particular requirement. So this is very much important in this part. And last, the business analyst work with the key stakeholder to gain the consequences of a new or the change requirement. You should not take a decision on everybody's behalf. You are or we are just a business analyst. We have to take the consequences. We have to take the approval from the required stakeholder, the key stakeholder, in case anything new has been proposed, in case anything has been changed in the previous requirement part. Okay, and now let's come back to our now create part here. So in this, what we say that we have to be trace the requirement, maintain the requirement. Let's come here and see. So let me come here and success pack. Let me take my here. Let me change it to the implementation and let me change to the this one. Let's say ITSM part again. Okay, if you want to add any, you can add a new product as well. That's fine. That's not a case for me. Okay, so let's say I want to go for this one or operate as a IaaS service. So I can go here. I'm intentionally changing the success pack so that you or we or I should get an idea that how ServiceNow defining the things here. Okay, so now the question comes after this particular things part, you can go for the story definement. I can say our task of these things, requirement, maintain requirement, prioritization, you can do in the story refinement and these things. So you can start drafting the capture stories. Now question come, Atul, do we need to write the stories as well? If I give you a trick, if I give you the tip here is that in the if you go to the assets of in the now create, you can check the starter stories of the respective modules as well, like incident management. I can say starter stories, request management starter stories, or release management starter stories. But these are the helpful when you're going for a fresh implementation for the first into the customer. Okay, and you can see the guidance here that how to create the story here. If I come back here again, let me come here. So this is what I can start maintaining it. It's just a capturing part. Let me come here and click here. So you can say document process design and data flows. Here you can start your designing part a little bit more. Even though I'm saying few things you can use in this station, few things you can use in the next station, few things you can do in the next station as well. So and last, if I say obtain approval on the final designs, maybe you can say approval obtain on the final stories. You can use this process guides as well if you want to do backlog refinements kind of things. You can do here. The intention is that before you think that I have to be getting from the scratch, better go to the now create and think and search. You will definitely get some ideas. Okay, so now it's again time come for me to take a break and let's connect in the next station very quickly. Bye bye. Okay, so hi everyone, welcome back again in the next station, that is analysis and design and definition. A good one, actually good one. Okay, so what the station says actually, the requirement analysis and design definition knowledge unit describe that the task that business analysts perform, structure, organize, requirement, discover during illustration activity. In simple and the layman perspective, I say this is the place when I am doing my homework. Not before the illustration, after the illustration has been done. I got everything, now I'm analyzing it and creating the design definitions, kind of a design documentation I can put it here on the broader perspective. Okay, specify and model requirement and design, that for which requirement which model need to be built. Maybe for something I have to go for the wireframe, something I have to go for the workflows, something I have to go for the scheming kind of things. Then validate and verify the information and identify solution option that met business need. Now let's say in the requirement discussion I got 100 of requirements. I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this. At this point of time, you're going to be verify and validate how much are actually a required one or valid one. And do we have any business or the solution option for this or not? Sometimes it happens that customer says a lot of things, and later on when I discuss with my technical team, then I come to know a lot of more facts here. Even though in the next stop we're going to go for the assessment as well, but here we can put a estimate potential value that what I can achieve from this particular solution part here. So now let me go and show you the task here. So this is the number, this is the place where we have to do a lot of tasks. Total 6 tasks. As a business analyst, we have to do. The first task, what it says is that specify and model requirements. Important, yeah. Even though the tasks are small, but important. What it says, specify and model requirement. Okay, so the purpose of specifying and model requirement is to analyze, synthesize, and refine illustration results into the requirement design. Means from a lot of English sentences, paragraph, you're going to be specify that what exactly a customer need, what exactly a customer or the stakeholder need from this particular requirement. This is what it says. Specify and the model requirement describe the practice for analyzing illustration results and creating a representation of that particular part. Number one, when the specifying and modeling activity focus on the understanding the need, output, and refer to the requirement. Refer to as a requirement. It means when you're saying, let's say my customer says, Atul, I want a web page. On the web page, I need one button this, one button this, I need this option and this option. Okay, this is a lot of things. Now I'm specifying it. That on a single form, a customer needs 3 buttons. Okay, cancel and submit. This is what I'm specifying it. And what a customer want to be achieved, what a stakeholder want to be achieved, I'm putting it here as an outcome. Second point, it says when the specifying and model activities focus on the solution, the output as referred to as a design. So now your English words, English sentences are going to be formatted into the some pictorial representation. This is the second point, because now you are defining the designs as well here. It can be any format, maybe linking of the different requirements. One complete requirement have a one flow and kind of things, we can put it here. Second point, verify requirement. Second task is verify requirement. The purpose of verify requirement, again, now the question comes, we done this part when we communicate it. Yes, we done. But maybe there's a time period gap between communication and the verifying this particular step, I can say. In this part, if I say the purpose of verifying requirement is to ensure that the requirement and the design specification models met the quality standards. This is important. So maybe technical perspective, maybe process perspective, maybe thoughtful, maybe I can say standards perspective. We have to make sure that when I'm building this requirement, I have to make sure that this should meet the quality standards. That is important here. Verifying requirement ensure that the requirements and the design have been defined correctly. Customer need this thing, I am okay with this thing, and I'm building a design on this particular part for this particular things. Requirement verification also includes a check by the business analyst and the key stakeholder to determine that the requirements and design are ready for the validation. So at this point of time, I can say not the solution, but you have some kind of a flows. We have some kind of a design is ready, which we can revalidate. And also it can be work as a re-engineering for us, reverse engineering for us. When I'm seeing the designing, my customer said, no, I want this thing. No, I want this thing. Can you make it connection here? Again, we have to follow the change strategy as well, and provides the information needed for the further work to be performed. Sometimes when we are going for the design verification, requirement verification, then things can be changed, and then we have to go. Third point is the validation. Verification and the validation is something different. Verify what you told, I return its verification. Validation, let's discuss, is it be actually signed off by you that it has been validated now? The solution you will be agreed on this part. So the purpose of validate requirement is to ensure that all the requirements and the design align with the business requirement. Customer says, I need a button on the form. I verify. In the written English, I verify. But when I'm designing it, it's no, no, no. It's not on the form. It's on the website on the top. No, it's not validating the things. So in this part, we have to mainly discuss. We have to mainly not discuss. We have to mainly concentrate on the business requirement and support the delivery of needed value. Requirement validation is ongoing process. Maybe one requirement you are building, and tomorrow you are building another requirement. Again, we have to do for the revalidation as well, or the revalidation as well. So in this particular part, I can say it's ensure that stakeholder, the solution and the transition requirements align with the business requirement and the design that satisfies the requirement. So at this particular part, the solution which I'm proposed to the customer, proposed to my stakeholder, has been agreed and validated by the customer, and they say, yes, this is what I want to be achieved from this requirement. Also, it says understanding what is desired state. Remember the future state when we see in the last station. Future state, we can say we are validating that when you implement this solution, I'm going to be look like in the future state like this particular format. And the overall goal for performing this activity is to make sure that customer also agree that what it's going to be in the desired state. So I can say it's a rework, revalidation, reconfirmation, just to make sure that nothing should be break or nothing should be missed out when we are going for the actual solutioning part. Okay, or the deployment or development part, I can say. The next one, that is define requirement architecture. How the requirements will be taken care, that is important. Okay, so the purpose of this defined requirement architecture is to ensure the requirements collectively support one another to achieve the full objective. If I say, okay, my customer says, Atul, can you implement the ITSM for me? I said, yes, I can implement. But if I'm putting my foundation requirement at the bottom or at the last, I'm not able to achieve that value. So I have to make sure that the architecture should be defined that if you want to start the incident management, then you have to be build at least minimum of the CMDB or minimum of the foundation data so that you can use that part. So in this area, in this particular task, we as a business analyst have to be define the architecture. I am 100% sure we as a business analyst, everybody following the right method, but something has been written as a standard, so we have to be used as well. A requirement architecture fit the individual models and the specification together to ensure all the requirements look like in a single format. So integration, foundation, CMDB, user, group, incident, change, problem, the combined blueprint, I can say it's look like an architecture for me. And business analysts use a requirement architecture to understand which model are appropriate for the domain, solution scope, and audience. If I say, okay, let's say I have a blueprint of my new flat which I'm going to build it. By seeing that blueprint, I can say that how I have to progress in this particular area. The solution scoping, I can say, I can put it here. Organize the requirement into structure relevant to the different stakeholder. Okay, one requirement is for the one person, the other person I can put in the single form, and I can show that your requirement is aligning with the other one, and other one like this manner. And last, it ensured the requirement work together to achieve our objective. Ultimately, the goal is one, that as a business analyst, I want that my customer should be able to move from as is to the to be process. And these are the things we have to be defined. And the second last is define the design options. How to build that. The purpose of design option is to define the solution approach, not your paperwork. It's a solution approach that are you going to be use X method or the Y method kind of things, I can say. Identify opportunity to improve the business. Allocate requirement across solution components and represent design options that achieve the desired state. When we are defining the design options, number one, we have to designing the solution. There may be one or more design identified. So like if I take example of the CSGM, a very, very hot cake in the market from the ServiceNow perspective. It's very good product launched by ServiceNow. But to implement the CSGM, every company has their own way of using it, or the implementation part specifically, I can say. In a single company, in a single customer, for a single department, there are the multiple ways to implement CSDM. So here we have to be defined that as well. That what method, what design option I'm going to be take it. Each design option represent a way to satisfy the requirement. Okay, by this way I can do, by this way I can do, by this way I can do. Okay, then design option exists at the lower level, other than the change strategy, and they are tactical other than the strategical one. You want to quick win, you can still use the design options and you can do your part as a tactical part, not as a confirmation of the strategical solutioning here. The last part which is says here that analyze the potential value and the recommended solutions here. The purpose of this particular task is to analyze the potential value, that if I use this design, if I use this option, that what value I'm going to be achieved, and on the basis of that I can recommend the different solution as well. I remember there's a article has been I saw on the ServiceNow community, that is customization versus configuration. When the customization required, there are two things. I have to be understand the business value and the complexity score as well. Once these two have been on the same place, then I can take a decision that what is the right approach, what is the recommended approach for me. And here I can say the purpose of analyze this thing is to estimate the potential value for each design. Now, as I say that CSDM implementation can be done in the three ways. What is the best way so that I can get the potential, I can get the value, and it is recommended by everybody. This is what we have to be do here. Analyze the potential value and the recommended solution. See, these are the two different words. Value, what I can achieve. Recommended solution is the best way to do that part, to achieve that value. So analyze the potential value and the recommendation, a solution that describe how to estimate the model, the potential value delivered by a set of requirements. It's a little bit complicated, I can say, but it's not tough to do that part. Okay, because when we see the practical stuff, we can easily say, yes, it is the best value and it is the best recommended solution for us. And the last in this area is that the potential value is analyzed many times over a course of change as well. If any change occur, if any new requirement come, maybe the recommended solution or the potential value can be get changed. It's an ongoing process always. New requirement, addition, enhancement on that previous one can change the recommended solution or can change the potential value as well. So now let's come back to our Now Create and see where we can use these things, or we can find out some useful links in the Now Create. Okay, so let me come here. So we're on the same screen now. Let me come here. Yep. So now what we are seeing here is that this one, specify and model requirement, verify requirement, validate requirement, and architecture. So I can say something, we can go on this part. Architecture design, you can define the architecture here. But again, it is from the technical perspective. The same thing you can use for the requirement perspective as well. Okay, like creating update solution architecture. Basically, you can say that how the requirements are matching with each other. I have to build up. I can go for this particular part. Like how the CMDB is going to be related with the ITSM or the mobile or the service operation workspace. We can define the architecture because it is the solutioning part I am discussing here. Till the time as a business analyst, writing is done. Here the actual technical things come into the picture. So you can, or we can use this approach, the defining architecture, we can use it here. Then how I'm going to be do the migration strategy. Maybe my customer demand, I want the transactional data also to be migrated. So I can define the strategy here. So it means if I come here, specify the models, verify the requirement, these part you can still do in the backlog and all the things here. I can say refinement part here. This one you can do at this particular part. Okay, you can easily do that part, refining, estimating. You can do all the final approval, designing, and all the things. You can do it here. Maybe something you can put it here in the execute. Let's say what is the create value. So like governance, build value measurement reports and dashboard, coordinate organization change management. This is what when we're going to be achieve that part when the solution is ready. But still, if you think something can be helpful for me here, we can definitely use it. Or maybe I can see some option in the exit phase. Just a gate meeting, that's all. Nothing is going to be happen here. Let me come back here and let's see few more things which we can use in this domain. So we have defined design options. Let's see. If I go here and let's see, establish technical governance is not required for me. Technical governance we have done. Update architecture we can say here in case something new is coming. You can use access and plan for change. Yes, maybe you can use this as well. Let me take my picture here. Yes, workforce transition summary measurement plans. No, it's not with that much good for us. So I can say mainly on this part that things which we already discussed, like few of the workshops, documentation or the templates we can use here. If you find for this architecture perspective, you can definitely go for the technical discussions, technical parts we can pick up on this particular area. Otherwise, multiple things options are there. Planning approach we can say, or the release and sprint planning we can say all the things we can put it here, no doubt. Okay, so with this, let me take a break here again and let's connect in the next session very soon. Take care. Bye. Okay, so hi everyone, and once again, welcome back. Hope the journey till now is interesting, and definitely you'll be eager to know about the next stops in this journey. So the next station is the strategic analysis. A very important point because here as a business analyst, we're going to be discuss where we are and where we want to be go. If you remember on the part 1, we discussed about the type of requirement, functional, non-functional and the transitional. Here we are going to be discuss about something related to that only. So the strategic analysis is focused on defining the future and the transition states need to be addressed, the business need, and the work required is defined on the both by the need and by the scope of the solution. It covers the strategic thinking in the business analysis as well as the discovery or imagination of the possible solution. It's too much English. Let's go in the layman perspective now. So what it says specifically, in this place we are going to be discuss, we are going to be address that where we are and where we want to be move. That is what the first line says, the future and the transition states. Specifically, if I can say from the agile perspective, so plan, design, development kind of things, I can put it here. We have to finalize the work required from the both side, that what customer need and what the scope says and how I can put together and build a solution in this particular space. And the last, it says it covers the strategic thinking in the business analyst. Also, you have or we have to be start thinking on the imagination perspective, that what can be the possible solution for this particular problem. We have to be defined here. So the strategy define the most effective way to apply the capabilities. Okay, and it may includes the strategy for the entire enterprise. Maybe today we are implementing service now just for one department, but tomorrow if it is going to be for the complete enterprise, that how this strategy will be work. It can be defined for a one department, one division, one region, one product, one project, or one iteration. Okay, so what it says basically, the strategic analysis knowledge area describe the business analysis work must be performed to collaborate with the stakeholders to identify the strategic need or the tactical importance. Important here that let's go back a little bit in the previous two part. When I get the requirement, I don't know that how it can be built up, because my work is to just gather the requirement. But here I have to be defined, which I'm saying the word as a strategy or as a tactical solution. Sometime, let's say I want to do integration of the two systems. Till the time both systems are fully integrated, I can use some tactical solution on the place. This is what we can discuss here. So what it involves, what it includes here. So number one, it says analyze the current state, define the future state, assess risk, and finally change strategy. But before that, let's discuss about when we are performing this task, the whole task as a strategic analysis, what we have to be take care. Number one, in the context in which they are working. It is very much important. The context what says in which area, in which atmosphere, in which scenario, in which condition, in which situation we are working, we're building this thing. We have to be considered that. Second point say how predictable the range of possible outcome. That up to what strength, up to what point, up to what parameters I can think and I can say that yes, I can build the solution for this particular point. And when a change will have a predictable outcome, that okay, if I implement this, I will get this. Then I have to define the future state and the possible transitional states as well. That is very much important. Maybe it's little difficult to understand, but when we go for the task level, we can understand a little bit more easy. So the first state says analyze the current state. If you speak to any of the process consultant, the first point he says, I want to understand as this. This is what the current state say here. Analyze the current state means how a company, how a customer, how a solution, how a stakeholder behaving or using or working the things at point of time. This is what the analyzing the current state. What I can say, the purpose of analyzing the current state is to understand the reason why an enterprise need a change some aspect of how to operate. It means here I need to find out that why you need this solution. This is what the point here. Why you need this particular, even though not solution, why do you need this requirement? That is important to be discussed in this point of area or this particular task, I can say. The starting point of any change is to understanding why. And it's a thumb rule says, even though in the problem management, if you go in the reactive problem statement, if you go, you can say 5 whys is a technique used to identify the root cause and to find out the root cause for the particular problem, I can say. The same thing you can apply here. As per my experience, I can say 5 whys, 6 whys, 7 whys will help you to get the answer for that particular things. Okay. Potential change is triggered by the problem or the opportunity. Everybody know that due to COVID, things has been completely changed. It was a problem when the COVID came, it was a problem, but now people are using this as an opportunity and growing in the different areas. Okay. Which cannot be addressed without altering the current state. Definitely, I don't want to go in that discussion, but everybody know that from work from office to work from home, how the complete structure has been changed. Because we want to make a change. So we analyze that now my resources, my employee cannot come to office. I have to make a change. So I analyze my current state here. In the business analyst format, if I say the current state is describe the important existing characteristics of the environment. This is what important here. Now the question comes, Atul, so what we discussed earlier when we gather the requirement, you think that we should be discuss these points earlier as well? Yes. If you want, you can discuss that why you need this part. But after getting the requirement, maybe because now you are defining the solution as well in the future state. So you can think why customer need this thing. Is it using earlier? Is having some problem? What you want to be achieved? This is what come in this part. But again, it is important. The scope of the current state describe the important characteristics, which includes the boundaries of the current state scope determined by the components of the enterprise and its environment as they are related to the need. Means when I'm discussing about the current state, it means that I have to be put a boundary that these are the things I'm considering so that I can achieve this thing and I need this thing particularly. The current state can be described on the different levels. Again, starting from enterprise till the small solutioning components as well. I need a new website. This is my need. But why I need on the website, what I need, it can be also the parts here. Okay. Defining the future state. Second important task, future state means from as is, I'm going to be the to be part. It, these things are important. If you see, if you take a look on this particular screen now, you can see that how many things I'm going to be output here. Maybe I can say, or maybe from experience or from your perspective, you can say, can we use these steps before requirement gathering? Yes, you can use. Why not? Before, at the time of the planning, you can still go through this part. You can understand this part. The reason, the purpose is just to putting these things in a bucket so that we can understand. But important point is that these steps need to be discussed. As a business analyst, my second question, okay, what do you want to be achieved? First question, where you are, where you want to be go. I don't have any tool of the tool at point of time. Okay, I can give you the service now. This is my future state. So when we're discussing about the future state, important point which as a business analyst I need to be ensure the future state should be well, or I can say the future state of the enterprise is well defined. There's a no ambiguity, there's a no conflict, there's a no reiterations, or I can say rewordings, reworks kind of things, or I can say means it's like crisp and clear. I can say it should be like this, so that everybody know that where we are and where we are to be go. That is a future state. Number one. Number two, it should be achievable with the resources available. That is important point. Customer say I want to be do automation of complete my infrastructure. For that you have to be buy the item. If you don't want to buy the item, that's fine. But from the ITSM you can achieve only this much part. That is important. The second thing. And the third point is that the key stakeholders should have a shared consequences vision of the outcome. Everybody should be clear. Yes, this is my vision. Like company says, by 2025, I want to be achieve this much $1 billion this much. I want to be achieve this much. I want to achieve this much. What is that? That is their future state. From CEO, CTO level till the bottom, everybody has a clear vision that we want to be achieve this thing. And also important here, the future state will be defined at the level detail that allows for competing strategy. Because when you are defining the future state, you have to make sure that your strategy should be aligned with that. Today you are going to be use the waterfall. Maybe tomorrow when you go to the future state, you say, no, it is not fitting now. I need agile. So you have to be think from now onwards if you want to be go for that particular part. That is, it says in the planning part, if organizational standard does not exist, better to use the historical data, historical way of working which you already use in the areas. Second point, provide a clear definition of outcome. Again, no ambiguity, no scumbling, no I can say beautician or the cosmetic changes or cosmetic words. Be crisp and clear on what you want to be achieved. That is the future state. Number three, details the scope of the solution space as well. That if you want to implement this, then the scope will be like this, or the solution will be like done by this manner. And the fourth one, allow for the value associated with the future state to be assessed. Definitely, if you want to be achieve any future state, there should be some value there which you want to be evaluate, which you want to be achieved. Only then it can be done. Okay. The third point, it says assess risk. A very much important point, because now it's asked sometime to me. Many people ask me, Atul, how you deal or how you work as a business analyst. So my personal experience says, when I work as a business analyst, I'm not going to be change the tool. My responsibility to change the mindsets of the stakeholders. That don't compare one tool to the two tool or third tool. You have to be think that what you are doing at point of time and how you want to be go to the next place. If you change your mindsets, you're able to achieve it immediately and quickly and with the positive notes. So to do this part, we have to do the assess risk as well, because you are going from as is to be to be. Okay. The purpose of assess risk is to understand the undesirable consequences. It can be any way. It can be government changes, it can be country level changes, it can be security level changes, it can be data level changes. A lot of things are there. A lot of parameters are there. So we have to be assessed, and it is undesirable. See, nobody want that I should have in the risk. Everybody want I should be do, I should go, or I should run my business without any risk. But still, we have to be assess the risk. If I did not study today, tomorrow maybe I get fail. So I'm assessing my risk. This is what we have to be do it here as well. Okay, consequences of internal and the external forces, because it's a business. And here the things matter from the both sides. It can be internal, it can be external as well. Maybe you can also take some water now. It's a journey. So you can have your drinks, you can have your chips, or you can have your drinks as well. That's fine for my side. Okay. So in this part, risk might be related to current state, number one. Number two, it can be related to the future state. Definitely, it will be on the future state as well. Number three, on the change itself. Let's say I am moving, or my customer says we want to move from manual to the automation. There is a huge risk. Huge risk. If automation fail and I have no person in the background who will work on that part. So in the change itself, it's a huge risk. And again, as a business analyst, we have to be define the risk properly in that particular part. The risks are analyzed for the number one, possible consequences if risk is occur. If I say in the layman language, in the process perspective, there's a word called RAID, R-A-I-D. In ITL, in the ITSM, this word is very much famous. Risk, I guess, and some acceptance kind of things are there, so you can create the risk register at your side. Okay, so number one, the possible consequences if the risk occur, because you're analyzing it. It means you are. If I take example of the ServiceNow, ServiceNow has a product called the IRM, Integrated Risk Management, which was called earlier GRC, Governance, Risk and Compliance. What are the purpose of that? The purpose of that companies should follow the complete standards and the regulations so that risk can be minimized. If risk occurs, and how it can be handled. So this is what we have to do. When we are analyzing it, we have to be analyzed in the proper manner. Impact of those consequences, in which area, in which domain it can be get impacted. Likelihood of the change may occur, may not occur, and the potential time frame when the risk might occur. This is very much important. No company, if you notice that during the period of the year ending between 15th of December till 31st of December, or the 6th or 5th of this January, no company go for any major deployments, because they know it's a silent time, it's a Christmas time, it's holiday time. People are not around, nobody is going to be supporting in that particular point. So they assess the risk beforehand to go for the deployments. So this is what we have to be do here. And the last, define the change strategy. So the change here means, which I'm getting from the previous one, if anything changes in the need, in the requirement, then how to be handle that part. It is important here. Now I can say, after seeing these 4 points, these steps can be work in parallel with the in the planning. It can work with my life cycle management. It can work with my in this illustration as well. So we have to think that how we can utilize this task. And I'm sure that everybody who is be working in this particular space, they're using or they're be working on this task, but not sure that how they are interrelated. So in the defined change strategy, the purpose is to develop and assess the alternative approaches to the change. Let's say my customer says, Atul, can you add a new field on this particular form? It is a new requirement they're giving to me, or they're changing the requirement now. So I have to find out that do I have any alternative approach to fulfill that part. That is very much important. It can be technically, it can be via education, it can be via training, it can be via other way, but we have to be think on that part. Developing a change strategy is simpler. And why I'm putting the stress here, because it is important. I am a business analyst. I'm not the person who is authorized to do anything in the project work. I have to be take approvals, I have to be take proper authorization from the different stakeholders here. So the change strategy clearly describe the nature of the change in terms of, number one, the context of change, what you are going to be change. Identify the alternative change strategy. If this thing coming new, how I can fix that part, how I can use that part, how I can build that part. Number three, justification why for a particular change strategy is the best approach. It's depend, right? In like someone says, let's do the integration of the two tools. But later on someone says, or my stakeholder says, no, I don't want a tool. Let's use one tool only. So it's a change, and we have to define that why it is be useful. Then investment in the terms of the resources and the work to be done on that particular area of the future state. How the enterprise is going to be realize the value. Because until it's not developed, it's not deployed, it's tough to do that part. And the last, key stakeholder in that change, who are going to be take the complete authority, or I can say accountability and responsibility. Yes, we are the one who is proposing it, and we will be happy to do this particular change strategy now and transition with the along way. So these are the few tasks which a business analyst need to be done in this particular part. Now let's come to our now grade. So I can come here. Yes, in the previous screen which we have opened. So let me come here. Yes. So when we say we are on the in this particular task, I can say we have to do the analyze the current state, future state, and risk. So you can do it here. So I can say if you want to go for the future state, let's say align value, or I can say this part, or maybe if I'm not wrong, let me go for the business case, or maybe I can say change strategy here. You can do impact analysis here. Again, few things you can reuse which we discussed earlier as well. So nothing to be worried on that part. Atul, are we going to be doing the wrong way? No, it's not like that. If you think it is be working for you, you can definitely use this particular strategies here. Okay, so like in the planning way, I can say plan value. See, define key measurement and linkage of the value. So now if I talk about the current state, so you can pick up this and you can take the inputs and update the business case, because in the business case you're getting the value actually, and the output can be key value measure defined. Let me come here and show you a few more examples here. Okay, draft value management measurement tool, plan value health checks. So how you are going to be achieve that part? This is what we have to do, because it is a current state and the future state, I can say. This is very much important. Now if you say I can come here, review the current environment. This is from the technical perspective, I can say. But still you can pick up it, because when I say the strategy is going to be changed, where I am at point of time and how I'm going to be achieve the new things in the future state, I can use this documents as well. So let me open and see what document they're giving input, the input capability map. It is important point here, because in the as is state my customer is not using any tool, but in the to be state they're going to be use the service now. So I can use this capability map and show them that what they're going to be achieve if they're going to be use this particular area. Let me come back here, success pack, and let's go for the our normal ITSM part, implementation, and modernize this part. It gives a little more confidence to me as well, nothing to be hide. So now we can see here. So I can go here again, this thing we have discussed. So review technical governance. The same thing you can go for the process governance as well, or the change strategy governance as well. So here the technical part, if I'm making any change in the technically, but if I'm making any change in the process perspective, in the requirement perspective, I can use the same fundamental here and I can do my work on that part. The only thing is that for every step you must have something in your pocket to be used. Okay, then I can say let's go here quickly. Actual budget, definitely budget is not much. Okay, so here you can say, yeah, I was saying a RAID log, it's a RAIDs, RADIC. So you can see here, view asset, and you can use this part because it is important for us to be fine. So you can make it Excel format, you can download it, and you can do it very easily in your project. So it's include risk, issue, decision, action, and changes. It is important, which we discuss in the assess risk part. Actually important point here. So you can use as it is template in your projects and you can use that part. Okay. Then communicate project status. Important. If anything coming wrong, and you can manage project change, execute the steering committee. It can be used for your change strategy as well. If something goes wrong, sorry, not if something goes wrong or maybe something coming new, you can use this steering committee to update the things as well, and you can get the reporting templates as well here. Okay, so now let's take a break again. We'll connect you again in the next station very soon. Thank you so much. Okay, so once again welcome back, and we are almost on the second last stop of our journey now. This stop is called the solution evaluation, assessment, and the validation. It means this is the place where actually I'm going to be discussing about the technical things. Okay, So the solution evaluation or solution evaluation knowledge area describe that the task that BA need to perform is assess the performance of and the value delivered by the solution. It means what I want to be achieve. I'm assessing that solution, that okay, X is the way that I'm assessing that going to be complete that achievement, and need to be see the value I'm getting by delivering that solution or not. Little bit on the business part, but yes, we have to be think on that perspective as well. So I can say in this part, analysts perform to assess the performance of and value delivered by a solution in a used by enterprise, and to recommend the removal of barriers as well. So it means during the implementation, not the implementation, I can say during the solutioning designing part, evaluation part, assessment time, if I'm thinking there is some barriers, there's some constraints where I need a support from the stakeholders, then I have to be raise the flag so that it can be sorted out. Total 5 tasks a BA need to perform here. Number 1 is called the measure solution performance. The first one is that as a business analyst, I have to be start measuring the solution performance. Let's say my customer says, as is, I'm not using any system, but in the 2B, I'm going to be using ServiceNow incident management. Now, if I implement that, how to measure that? It means don't think that okay, BA work, gather the requirement, it's done. BA is responsible till the end to measure the performance as well. Solution performance. I know the performance, solution performance. That is this solution going to be helpful to my stakeholder to achieve and give a potential or give a value which they want to be get from this part. So in this part, the purpose of measure solution performance is to define the performance measure by using the collected data to evaluate the effectiveness of a solution that it brings. It means, Atul, is this step will be only at this place? Truly speaking, no. Whenever you go live, this step play a vital role here. Every time we have to measure that is my customer is able to achieve what they want to be achieved. So second point, performance measure determine the value of newly added or newly deployed solution to the existing solutions. Let's say if I say I want to be travel from X place to Y place, I can go via car, but I can go via flight. All right, let's say I can go via car as well. But if I add a flight, is that going to be support or providing any value which my customer want to be achieved? So this second point I have to be take care. And the final, when solution don't have built-in performance measurements, then I as a business analyst need to be sit with my stakeholder and to set the measurement criteria. Remember the planning and monitoring part. The same thing we have to be do here. Improvements areas, and here the performance performance measurements area we have to be defined here. Second is analyzing. So now you have a data, you have to be analyze that is my customer achieved what they want to be achieved with this solution. In this, the purpose of this to provide insights of a solution, what value it brings. So in short, if I say in this particular area, I'm dealing about the values. It can be monetary, it can be quality, it can be quantity as well. But it's all about the value I'm going to be find out here. Okay, the performance measure themselves really trigger a decision that bring a value here. And also for a meaningful analyzing the performance measure, we need a throughout understanding of the potential value that stakeholder hope to achieve in the solution. So what happened in the practical life, the day one when we discuss, stakeholders say I want to be achieve this thing. The time we have solution ready, the mindset, the thoughts, the process, the situation, the conditions can get be changed. Even the value can get be changed as well, which is not a right thing, but still it gets changed. So it is important when you're analyzing the performance measure, you have to make sure that the stakeholder should have a throughout understanding of the business so that they can know or they can analyze that what value it's bringing to us. Okay, and in this area you can use the KPIs. Specifically, you can use the level of risk of the solution. Maybe if this solution reduce my risk as well. It's achievement for me. It's a value achievement for me. Okay. Or in the perspective of the tolerance of the both stakeholder and the enterprise. Risk tolerance of the both stakeholder and the enterprise level. So multiple ways you can do it. So and here you can go back and check your risk register as well. What has been risk? Why the solution I am able to achieve that or mitigate that part or not. The third one says assess solution limitation. We as a business analyst cannot, or I can say not 100% do the assessment. So there are some limitation. Like again the same example. If someone says, "Are you okay to come with us?" I said, What does this mean? Neither it's yes, neither it's no. So here we have to be assess the solution limitation as well. That means void. It's null. No voting, nothing has been considered here. So in this particular task, what business analysts need to be do, the purpose of assess solution limitation is to determine the factor internal to the solution that receive the full realization of the value. Unless the full solution is not implemented, I cannot realize the value. Like companies say, the organization says that by 2025 I will be giving this much saving. So if half solution has been implemented now, it doesn't mean that they can get the full value. They had to wait by that particular time period. Only then they can assess it. But second thing, assessing solution limitation, identify the root cause of underperforming or I can say ineffective solutions as well. I'm not able to get the value from this particular solution. It means it is ineffective for me. It's not serving any value to me. Maybe due to the reason that until the full solution is implemented, I cannot use it or I cannot realize the value. So that's again difficult, but definitely yes, as a business analyst, I have to document these limitations as well. So that tomorrow, if my performance measurement has been done, I can put that, guys, this thing I already told you, and we have to be clear on that particular part here. The fourth one, which is we need to do, assess enterprise limitation. So now the two things is coming. One is on the solution level. Second is on the enterprise level. That is on the business level. It is important. The purpose of assess enterprise limitation is to determine how factors externally impacting or restricting my value. Solution may operate across various organizations. Maybe the thing or the solution which I'm implementing, it's not only for one department, it's for the multiple departments. One is using 100%, one is using just 5 or 7%. It is the enterprise level limitation. So I cannot say that if everybody is not using up to the mark, I cannot achieve that value. I cannot calculate that value. Okay. And the last, it's also depend in this particular area. It is important that the stakeholder interest and the reporting structure as well. If I pick up example here, why CSGM come into the picture? Because the different stakeholders from the different domains want a standard way of reporting, and it came into that particular part. So maybe in HR department, if I implement ServiceNow, they're using ServiceNow, but the reporting structure is little different. If the same finance is using, but they are using some different structure. So it means I cannot make it standard and cannot do the assessment here. So better I should put this as a limitation. So in short, if I can say, you have to put minus, or you have to put the assumptions, or you have to put constraints, you have to put restrictions very clearly when you are calculating the value of that particular solution, or you're doing the valuation of that particular solution or the assessment part here. Okay. And the last, that is recommend action to increase the solution value. Very much important here. Means after doing this measurement, I get measurement parameters, I analyze my performance, and I find out the limitation. Now the question comes, as a business analyst, how you can recommend so that solution value should be increased. Maybe more training is required, maybe more I can say information or more presence or more publicity need to be done on the organization level, on the department level, on the user level, so that people start using that particular tool. So few things which recommended here is that, number one, the various tasks of solution evaluation knowledge area help to measure, analyze, and determine the cause of unacceptable solution. Maybe you can go for the audits, and then you can find out that why a user or why the solution is not able to achieve the value. So this is one of the reason. Maybe there are some long-term effects as well, which you cannot evaluate now. But if you start using, then you can see the long-term benefits in the later on. So this may include some recommendation to adjust the organization to allow maximum solution performance and value realization. So there are the multiple things which we can use here to go for the assessment part. Let me try to build these things into in the now create, and we'll see something there. Okay, so let's come here. So we are on the this part. Let me close it this thing here and let me take my video on that. Yeah. Okay, so now what we are discussing here is this thing. Yep. Measure solution performance, limitation, and recommended one. So what I can say here, the governance which we put, now we can use that governance to get some data. Maybe I can say if I go to the project monitoring and the controlling part, even though we already have these things, actual budget and all the things will be there. But if you see, this particular part is here as well. Let's say, okay, did we get something? No, not new. Let me see. Enable create value and enable value and operational value governance, I can say. Let's see what it's be giving. So it says the transfer value management responsibility from project to the business operation, because now you want to be evaluate, you want to do the assessment. So to do this part, you can use the value management plan here or the dashboards here. Maybe let me come back here and let's say, can we get something on the create value or the transition value? Can we get something here? So hand over the new value. So hand over to the now value and validate phase. Again, same thing. So you had to prepare a value management plan, that how I can get the value and how I can calculate the value. Then you can do this part. Let me try to come back here. Let's see if something more we can do it here as part of our discussion, which says limitations kind of things. Let me put here, and this one, manage, monitor and technical part, update architecture, deployed, execute sprints. Maybe I can say something, you can put here, execute communication. Let's see, conduct awareness roadshow. Like this is one. Two, if I say this part, recommending solution part, so this is one of the things we can do. Training materials we can use. Execute communication according to the plans. So pre-plans and the benchmark surveys. So these things are required to do in this particular part. How a business analyst can recommend if you don't have these things on the place. So these are the few things which you can pick up, you can relate here, and let me see if I can something here as well. You can define the RASI model definitely, and operational documents we see, transfer approach we can define here. Okay, so let's take a break again and let's connect on the last station after that. Thank you. Bye bye. Hi everyone, and once again welcome back. I know it's a little lengthy journey, but now we're on the we're at the last station now. Last station in this journey is getting sign off. Even though we already achieved that part, but still formally we have to be close the things from the communicating perspective. Like in our phase of lifecycle management, we see that we have to be obtain the sign off. We have to be notify the customer. We have to get the requirements communicating to the customer. But when we do the communication, sometimes we forget. Maybe as a business analyst, I'm in hurry. I thought my work is to just get requirement and done it. So here we can say here, communicating requirement is an important aspect of the business analyst, because the business analyst is working to bring the stakeholder to the common understanding. This halt or this station is the last one, and maybe already we covered as I say, but still few guidelines or few points we have to be notified, we have to be take care in this particular part. To facilitate this communication, the BA must be considered when and where communication need to take place. Formally, informally, over the email, in the meetings, kind of things we're going to be discussing. Okay, what communication approach is appropriate in each situation? And last, how each communication should be presented. A very much important point here, because as I said that due to and during your business or your development part or requirement gathering part, if you get some new requirement, how to communicate. This is the place where we have to be put little bit stress here. So now let's see what involves here. So let me take this little down and now it's clear. Yeah, okay. So documentation, community is important aspect which we already discussed. So documentation should be number 1, correct. Number 2, consistent. Number 3, feasible. And number 4, validated. When I say correct means all the information which has been mentioned in the document should be clearly. Don't try to be write very heavy words in your requirement document or sign off documents, which is need some dictionary to be get the exact meaning. Try to be keep it very simple and normal English word. Consistent. Internal consistency and external consistency. Both are required. It means I can say that none of the documents should be updated just due to some internal changes done or maybe due to some external changes. It should be done via proper control manner. Third one is feasible. The solution, the documentation which we are doing should be in the format of the possible within expected budget and the schedule. Because documentation is the part which companies actually sometimes charge as well. So it should be in the budget and in the proper schedule that okay, up to this time you are getting these particular things. And finally, the last one is validate. The requirement should be validated by the testing them against the system. So in the documentation, these 4 points should be covered very clearly. Otherwise, it can get a problem later on. Total 7 tasks a BA need to be done, a business analyst need to be done in this area. Number 1, create a requirement communication plan. In the simple manner, if I say the requirement communication plan documents the intentions of a business analyst in the term of project communication about the requirement. The BA requirement or the BA documents organize how and when they will handle the requirement communication. Also, a BA plan and estimate the requirement communication needs. Number 1, in the first step in the requirement planning, when you're doing the communication planning, because sometimes like if I take example, there's a module available in service now, major incident management. There's a tab, it's called the communication. So there's a task has been predefined that after 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, it can be done. So it means there's a planning already done. So in this point, we have to do a planning here. Number 1, a BA determine how he or she will communicate with each stakeholder. Number 1 part. Number 2 part, a BA need to determine how best to receive the requirement information from the project stakeholder. I'm saying how to receive. The same thing go for the going back as well, to be communicate. Provide a basic set of expectations from the project meetings and the other communication. Because when I'm running a workshop, I should clear the phase. Okay, guys, this is what we have to be do. This is what I want to be achieve. Okay, when we are working on this communication plan, a BA need to be think each deliverable, like what need to be communicated and what is the appropriate delivery method. Who is appropriate audience? Sometimes we invite a lot of people in a single meeting, which is not required. When the communication should occur, weekly, bi-weekly, at the beginning, at the end, in the middle. Additionally, the BA should be aware of the stakeholder needs and constraint, that what information is required by which particular stakeholder. Everybody not required everything. That's what too. So we have to be thinking that what is required, what is not required, and to whom we are passing which information, which is be useful. Second task is manage the requirement conflict. Even though I said we discussed this part, but still a kind of a rephrasing, recovering, or the rearranging this part is that manage requirement conflicts. One stakeholder say I want X, one person say I don't want X. Then how to be handle that part? And this is a very, very, very common scenario happen in the workshop specifically. So in this part, what we have to be do to acknowledge, address, and resolve any disagreement or the conflict the stakeholder must have for the requirement. Number 1, when requirement must serve more than one stakeholder need, there may be conflict. The reasons why this happened. So let's say my wife says, okay, would you like to have a rice in the evening or not? I said yes. My son said no. It's a conflict now. Okay, so this is important. How this will be sorted out now. So requirement themselves could also be in a conflict due to ambiguity, heavy English words. I'm again insisting on this part because this is create actually problem. Okay, so in this part, where requirement themselves could also be in a conflict where different but valid requirements from the different stakeholder cannot be met by the same solution. Someone say X, someone say Y. I know that I can achieve this, but not with the same solution. Then again, it's a conflict part here. All issues and the conflicts about requirement must be documented properly. A very important point. Again, we are the business analyst. Our main work is to document. If you don't write, you're gone. Write each and everything here. A BA will coordinate the resolution. It's not anybody else's responsibility, it's a BA responsibility to coordinate for the resolution, maybe by arranging different meetings, maybe by arranging different documents, maybe by arranging facts or figures or anything with a different stakeholder with the different timings, but it's a BA responsibility. The third task in the sequence called the determine appropriate requirement format. Important. In which format it should be sent out. So again depends, as we see in the previous few stations, we see that NowCreate is very useful. They're providing some formats, templates, formats, or I can say the formats as well. So you can use as it is, or if you want, you can design your own format, but it should be standard. It doesn't mean that I am a BA, so I'm using X format. He's BA in the same project, but using the Y format. It should be standard for everybody. So each requirement in this particular part, what have to be do? Requirement should be present in a format that are understandable. Number one. Number two, it must be clear, concise, accurate. It should not be like a lot of things you're putting in a single template. It's not like that. Each requirement that has been gathered, analyzed and documented must be presented in one or more project stakeholder for the review. It means anything as a business analyst you are be writing, it should be put somewhere in the meeting so that everybody say yes, they're okay on that part. To make a review process and as efficient and effective, the business analyst should be present. Don't say, okay, on my behalf, this person will run the meeting. No, it's your company, it's your area. You have to do that part. And the last, this required business analyst throughout understanding of the each requirement. You cannot say this requirement is valid or not, or this is not written, or this is not written. If you're not present in the meetings, it is a loss for you. The fourth task in this sequence is called the create a requirement package. Important. Package means it's a bundle format, which can include some documentation, which can include some designing formats as well. But in this part, the business analyst work results in many deliverables. Maybe for one stakeholder, it's just a document. Maybe for technical team, I need to present or create the workflows as well. So for me as a BA, I am providing or I am giving the different deliverables to the different teams. So I should do a package sort of things on that part. Documenting requirement is complex process. Very true. Very clear, very true. It's a very complex part. Communicating the requirement is again a complex part, but it's a key success factor. If you're able to get or you're able to deliver the things which your stakeholder is looking for in a format manner, you've done your lot of the things. And again, the point raises when there's a misunderstanding of the requirement, it has a negative impact. So that is when you're creating a package, make sure everything should be signed off, documented properly. Now the fifth one is conduct a requirement presentation. Generally, we prefer to go for this kind of presentation. Once you've done your part as a business analyst, you get the requirement, you've done your design or solutions ready, you can go for this particular part. And the presentation objectives. Number one, to review, prioritize, and communicate status. That guys, this has been discussed, this has been done, or this has been prioritized. To ensure quality and get the clarity if required. And getting the sign up for the buying. It is important. That is also, if you see in the workshop, always at the end of the workshop, there is a follow-up session. Just to make sure that what you told, what I understood should be clubbed together, merged together, and we have on the same page. There are some examples, like in this particular place, there are some examples of the documentation a BA need to be great. Maybe business requirement, that is called the BRS, FRS, data behavior model, process flows models, kind of things you can do. The second last step or the second last task is conduct a formal requirement review. Preferably go for this part. It should be a formal, maybe half an hour, maybe 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes, but it should be a formal. Yes, everybody should come and they can do. And what is the purpose they are going to be served? Number one, it should indicate the completeness of requirement, that all the requirements have been captured properly. It says, or it removes the any superfluous requirement which is not required, but still I mentioned it should be removed here in this particular area. Then if there is any ambiguity, it should be removed in this particular place. And the last, if any correction is required, it should be done. Plus, the purpose of doing this conduct formal requirement review, it tell us the scope, that what we discuss as per the scope or not, feasibility of the requirements, and also last, prioritization of the requirement. And the last stop, the last task a BA need to be do here is called the obtain the requirement sign off. The last thing in our journey, which we started, that business analyst journey from planning and the sign off. So we started from the planning, now we're in the sign off. So in this particular part, when everything has been formalized, a BA get a formal sign off, a formal agreement. The purpose of why I'm using the word formal, it reduces the risk that what you understand, what I told is everybody know about that part. What you documented, I'm agree on that part as a stakeholder. What I want to be achieved, you understand, and you are putting in this particular part here. So this is what the last stop come here. Even though I have nothing much to be discussed here on in this part, let me see what we have on this particular area here. Maybe I can say you can conduct some surveys as well. If you are a business analyst, you want to be do, maybe it's for the training evaluation. If you want to go for the requirement part, you can go for the surveys, that everything is went well or not. Generally, I can say this refinement and all the things will come here. This one, story refinement, estimating kind of things. It is a rework again and again, because if you're reaching here, also one more thing, you can put the user acceptance as well. Because you are getting a formal sign off, it means you are getting a user sign off. Maybe it's not from the story development perspective, not in the system, but still from our understanding perspective, we can link this thing here. Okay, and at last, you can note down some learnings, you can note down some exit phases here, and you can do that part. Okay, and last, if I come here, when we club our requirement journey with the now create, definitely it's going to be a success for us. This is what my point here. So with this, and here we reach at the end of the journey. We are on the last station at point of time, and before I close this session, or before we formally close this journey, let me thank to the community and all the learners and all the listeners who allow me to share my knowledge and experience. And thanks to my wife, Sisti, and my son, Athar, for their continuous support and motivation. Let me take a break now, and we'll see you soon in some other training on the Now platform. Until the time, keep learning, keep growing together, and stay hungry and stay humble. Bye-bye and take care.